Welcome to the Inspiring Humans podcast. We are so happy to have you listening. My name is Stephanie Woollard, and this podcast is a platform to showcase the incredible human spirit. On this podcast, I'll be interviewing people from all over the world and all walks of life who will be sharing with us their personal dreams and their dreams for the future. I believe that through coming together and creating community, incredible things are possible. In fact, anything is possible. And I hope that this podcast is a launch pad for creating the new world that we want to see, that will have humanity free, thriving, and living in their full self-expression. This interview is part of our 7 Women edition of the Inspiring Humans podcast, where we interview supporters, donors, and some of our courageous staff members in Nepal. So today I'm here with Cheryl Ryan. Hi Cheryl, and thanks so much for being willing to be interviewed on the 7 Women edition of the Inspiring Humans podcast.
Yeah, hi Steph, pleasure to be chatting with you.
So throughout my 7 Women journey, and since starting it, I think 17 years ago now, I've met so many legendary humans, and you are definitely one of them. And I love the way that we kind of met, because it was very random. So I'd love you to just share, how we actually met and how you came to experience 7 Women on your travels in Nepal.
Yeah, look, I travel a lot with my work. So I was over in India on a conference at the time, and I had to go up to Nepal, but I had about a 3-day gap between the two things. And so I thought, well, I always like to go and have a look at some community project or something local and get a little bit involved if I can. So I rang one of my suppliers and I said, what's happening in Kathmandu? What can I go and have a look at? So he said, oh, look, there's this great little project called 7 Women. Go and check it out. So I gave Anita a call, and she was working then as the director, but I think she's no longer there now. Anyway, she said, yeah, look, come spend 3 days with us. And so I met up with her and Padam, and I just had the most amazing 3 days, and it was such an inspiration to go and check it out.
Unreal. And I know that the women loved you and felt very comfortable around you. I think it was one of the 3-day tour experiences that you did, which was super exciting at the time, because we through Hands-On Development, the tour company, did the 10-day cultural immersions, but you were only there for a very short amount of time, and it just seemed to fit to like a mini 3-day experience at the centre.
It was amazing, and I stayed at the lovely little Moonlight Hotel, and of course I discovered your book there and thought, oh great, something to read while I'm here, and nailed down and read that while I was there, and just thought, well, this is an amazing lady that I've got to meet at some point in my life and connect up with. But look, the 3 days with Anita and Padam was life-changing for me, in that I had a new project that I suddenly could get my teeth into, and which I love to do when I go anywhere. And, I discovered through the centre all the different things that you did, from cooking to Nepalese language to educating all these lovely young ladies. And so got involved and had a look at each area. But the manufacturing was something that certainly resonated with me to do something with them.
So you have your own travel company, Cheryl 123.
123 Travel, yep.
Sorry, 123 Travel. And sorry, I've just been emailing you, so I've got that Cheryl 123 in my head. 123 Travel, and you're based up north in Australia, and it seems like you've got a great community and kind of loyal customers that have been coming to you.
Yeah, I have. I've been operating since about 2005, and it started out with doing tours over to India. And so I'm over there usually a couple of times a year. So Nepal wasn't too far of a step for me, but we got involved with setting up a charity over there, actually, looking after a hospital. And we were placing volunteer doctors and medical equipment and sort of giving them some sort of monetary assistance where we could. And that sort of end of last year, we ended up folding that because it was fully sustainable and doing its own thing. So I'd been looking for another little project to support, and we support sort of all things all around the world. Wherever I travel, I tend to try and find a local community project and introduce that to my clients as well.
What an awesome business that you're in, like to create a business in travel and to love travel yourself. I remember kind of thinking, geez, that'd be the ultimate. Do you know what I mean? To have
I don't know why I didn't do it years ago. I was
unbelievable.
an accountant for a while, and that has
Oh,
to be the
wow.
most boring job I've ever done in my life.
Unbelievable. Because I know when you visited Seven Women that you were kind of having the experience yourself, but testing it out to maybe refer on to your clients to travel to.
Yeah,
Experience.
I'm always looking for something for boutique small groups to take away. So, we go to all sorts of sort of off the beaten track destinations. I guess I call them destinations where perhaps clients want their hand held a little bit, and wouldn't do that by themselves. So, Nepal was one of those, and it was a really enlightening experience to discover Seven Women, but also from Nepal itself, because so many people think of it as a hiking destination, but it's so much more.
Amazing. And I know like you got involved way more than just, we have a lot of people that come and do the tours with us and come and visit us for the cooking classes and that sort of thing. And they kind of come and go, and a lot of people, love the experience and want to support, but, they go back home and life gets busy. But you actually created a few travel wallets with the women while you were there to implement in your business. And
it was quite funny because we didn't have a great deal of time to do that, as you can imagine, in 3 days. And so when I was there, I've had these plastic wallets, that standard travel agent wallets, I guess, for people's documents. And I said to Anita, I said, these ladies could make me my travel wallets, this beautiful material. And they said, oh, we don't really have one set material. I said, oh, I don't care. Let's just make them in whatever materials you can access and make it a local material, number one. And then it's made. I said, you can put the Seven Women logo on it and put my logo on it. And I said, I can promote you guys. And, people are going to get a little piece of Seven Women when they go anywhere in the world. They're going to carry this with them and they're going to keep it. So we did up a quick template, because luckily I had one of my travel wallets with me, and said, look, this just got to look like this. So we did up a quick whip around and drew up something. And I said, look, I'm away for the next 8 days. I'll come back through and grab them and have a look at the template. So they did that while I was away for 7 days. And by the time I got back, Anita met me somewhere, dropped this template off, and I've gone, yep, ticks the boxes, let's order some. So it was fantastic.
Amazing. Yeah, unreal. And I just think that's a fantastic idea, because travelers love to feel like they're making a difference, or that they've got something that's, especially when they're in a country, that they're making a meaningful difference, and to introduce that to them before they travel with the travel wallets, I think is a fantastic.
Yeah. And look, it's something that when I hand it over as well, that they might be going to Europe, they could be going to Tasmania, they could be going anywhere, but I can tell them the story about Seven Women, which is just a nice segue into telling them something about what you're doing.
Amazing. And so I also had the privilege of coming up and staying with you overnight at your pad up north. And I think I was up there for another speaking engagement at the time, and we tacked that on as an extra event that we could do. And that was great fun. I loved staying with you. I loved meeting your husband. And I had a friend with me at the time, and it was, it was really awesome. And then we had the event, was it for International Women's Day?
Yeah, it was, yes. And we were just right on the verge of COVID and things shutting down left, right and centre. So it was a complicated event, to say the least, in trying to get people actually there. But look, people loved it. And since then, I've had a few talks out of that I've done around the place. And I've, of course, used Seven Women to add into talking about and different projects we do.
Amazing. And you've, done some great fundraising for us, which I really appreciate, because especially during this time, a lot of our money's coming out of the budgets for the scholarship program and our normal programs. And obviously it's kind of, they've been very disrupted over there with all of the events. So it's a big fundraising time for us at Seven Women here at the moment. I just wanted to ask you, because I'm fascinated myself, but I'm always curious to know, what is it exactly that inspires someone once they visit the centre to, come back and continue that relationship and contribute? I've been so lucky as the founder of Seven Women to be surrounded with people with that spirit of generosity, and that you know, there's nothing more that brings me joy than that. That's so amazing to be surrounded by people like that. And I'm always curious to know what is it that inspired you personally when you visited the centre?
I think it's the connection. I always say when you travel that it's not about where you're visiting, but it's the people that you actually connect with. And, you know, doing a cooking class with those ladies wasn't the food was the bonus, and learning a dish that I probably have not cooked since, but have to confess to that. And I couldn't do it as well. But it was the connection of spending time with the ladies, and we would be chatting, and she would be asking me questions about where I'm from and what I'm doing, and you know, the types of things in my life, and I was exploring the same things with the ladies as well. And you know, with Anita, having 3 days with her, I guess one of the really interesting things and she took me on a whole nother journey as well after my visit there, was she had, I think, about 35 scholarships to give out. And she had been out to the local village when I was there to discover that about 20 plus of the girls had been taken, disappeared, indeed the human trafficking, either into arranged marriages or just who knows what had happened. And it was one of the most heartbreaking experiences for me, because it was so raw, because it happened when I was there. And you know, I shed quite a number of tears over that. I was just like devastated to think they were that close to having their life changed. And I guess how easy my life is, you know, having a daughter at this end. And we were comparing Anita growing up, and we got talking about, you know, when she first menstruated, and she was telling me the story that she was put in a shed for 10 days because she wasn't allowed inside, because it was considered dirty. She wasn't allowed near food. She wasn't allowed to eat with the family. And I said to Anita, it's just so far removed from where we sit in our life, in our day-to-day, and we take it for granted. You know, we're so privileged where we live and in the time we live. And I said, you know, when that happened to my daughter, we went out for a milkshake and cookies and celebrated, because you know, as women, we're gifted with, you know, being able to produce children, you know, and something that men definitely can't do. So we're blessed with that, and it should be embraced, not, you know, tucked away in a back shed. So I thought about that. And then we talked about, you know, the difficulties of children missing school, and because they get periods, you know, they can't get to school. And so I went down a whole new path of getting involved with Days for Girls, and that was something that connected up with Seven Women as well, because in the villages, they don't have access to sanitary items. And so, you know, I ended up becoming an ambassador and doing my training with them, so I could promote that when I travel as well. So yeah, lots of, I don't know, it's difficult to say what causes you to resonate when you meet someone or get involved in a project, but it's usually something personal. And I think that's what it is. It's that connection. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what had me going back over 35 times now to Nepal.
Yes,
that connection initially, and just I think the Nepalese culture and the Nepalese people are just, I've never met anyone like them in my travels. They're very, very special, and just very sincere, amazing humans, which is a massive generalization, but I think you can generalize in your own experience sometimes. And
yeah, it's a warmth. They have such a warmth, and I've just discovered a coffee shop up here. There's new owners, and they're from Nepal in Kathmandu, and I was so excited. I was just like, I couldn't tell them quick enough all about Seven Women.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now you're based in Buderim. Is that the correct? How do you pronounce
Well, that's what the tourists call it, but it's actually called Buderim.
I remember having trouble with that when I came up to
Buderim, the tourists call it, but it's actually Buderim. So yeah, on the Sunshine Coast, beautiful part of the world. I spent about 18 months traveling around Australia, came here for 2 weeks, and I've been here for 30 plus years now.
Wow. So I haven't shared this with you yet, but my partner, Tom, is super adventurous and super keen to buy a camper van and do a bit of trip up the East Coast and down the centre. And
wow.
I thought to myself, and he actually thought about it too, but why? Because we've got big fundraising targets, and we've got big plans to expand in Nepal. I thought, why don't I make it a 7 Women fundraising speaker tour? Because I know a lot of people host, and the more I think about it, the more excited I get about it, because I know all these people up the coast of Australia.
Yeah, well, my hand's up, straight up. Yeah, I'd love to host something.
So I'd love to see you again and see what we can do when we're passing through. So we're planning it for kind of early next year, but I just think that's an epic idea, and just the freedom that you feel when you're traveling around I've never traveled around in a camper van before. I've done the caravanning trip with my parents in year 10. They took us out of high school and took us around Australia up to the
beautiful
Northern Territory, and it's just such a stunning country that we live in, isn't it?
It's so diverse, and we're lucky at the moment during COVID that we have the diversity, and you can feel like you're traveling to different destinations, because it's just such an amazing place to travel in. And I spent 18 months in a camper van around Australia, and I loved it.
Unbelievable. Just pure freedom.
It is.
So I'm currently manifesting a camper van at the moment, which I know they're very popular. Everyone's wanting a camper van these days.
I had some friends that fitted out one specifically just for them. Wow. And it's really cool.
Unreal. So we have also at the end of July a cooking class launch. So we've had to adapt the cooking classes from in person, obviously, to online now. So the women have been trained up over the past kind of couple of months on how to use Zoom and how to do live cooking classes to people anywhere in the world. We had a big one a couple of weeks ago with 60 people, which was super exciting for the women. And we've just had an inquiry about 300. So we're like, ooh, this is amazing.
Well, I'd like to do one of those too. I saw that coming up and I thought, maybe I could do some of my VIP clients and get them involved and have them over and do a little cooking class. I think that would be quite fun.
That would be unreal. And the beauty about Zoom is, which I didn't kind of think of initially, because we're all kind of quite new still to the online thing. Well, I am anyway, is that you can have 300 people join, because it doesn't, the numbers and the location. And so it's unbelievable. And from the 60 people that we had a couple of weeks ago, that was $3,000 for fundraising. So it opened up a whole new opportunity for us to
and it's something, even once we're back face to face, I think that we'll still all continue to do a bit of Zoom, because the ease of access and having group chats is a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd love to have you involved in that if you're free on that date, the 31st of July. It's at 5:30. We're going to be they're going to be doing a live Zoom to people, and we're going to have a great buzz about it, because it'll be the launch, so it'll be super exciting for them to
well, I've got to jot that in my calendar, but make sure to remind me, because I would love to do that.
Sure, and just for them to have familiar faces as well would be fantastic for that initial class. And we're going to do one in the America time zone and one in the European time zone too. So
well, that's good. Yes, so they're not cooking at 3:00 in the morning.
Very exciting. Well, the America time zone's a bit challenging, because I think it's like they wake up super early over there anyway, but it's 6 a.m. that they'll need to start the class. The other 9 p.m. So working out time zones and all that sort of stuff too.
It is a bit, Oh, that sounds very exciting, something new. And we all have to, with COVID, I think we're all coming up with amazing creative things that we're doing, which I'm loving. You're always thinking, what can I do that's different? Or
what I love about 123 Travel is that it's kind of, you've created it, but it's a lifestyle as well, and you do a lot of philanthropy through it. And as you said, when you travel, you see these little projects that you like to help and keep that relationship going. And I know that you've done a lot in India and set on a group of like a foundation.
We set up it was for a hospital up in northern India, and so we actually set up, and it started out from my daughter not wanting to sponsor one child with World Vision. She just decided we could do a lot more than that at 5. And I was like, right, sure, we'll put that in the back burner, come back to that another time. But then I really got thinking, well, why can't we do more? There's, and I started questioning myself, thinking, well, is there a real reason that we cannot be doing more? And my husband was sort of rolling his eyes at me going, where is this going to go? And so, before long, we opened up our own charity and, got on a roll with that. And we had an amazing journey, something I really never saw myself doing. But, as it went down, and we started that back in 2007 and only finished that last year. So it was a long path, and we certainly had some hiccups along the way. But my daughter, from when she was 5 to now 20, was involved in that, and she's been to India so many times, and she just loves it, and she's got some beautiful relationships over there now.
That's amazing. And I remember you sharing another foundation that you're part of as well that worked in a really interesting way. I forget exactly how you mentioned it, but a group of, was it a community group that got together? And
oh, that's here, yeah, that I sat on the board for here. That's the local Budrum Foundation. Now, yeah, the Budrum Foundation, and it's a really amazing community, because where I live here, there's probably about 35,000 population. Now, that foundation set up a pot, say, of money that was donated in, and it sits there untouched. So that money then, the interest that's earned off that every year, is given out in grants to local community people that apply for the grants. So usually about 15 to 20 different grants are given out each year, and we have a celebratory sort of day for it. But that pot now sits at, now it's getting close to $3 million. It is just amazing. And so then there's a second one that now has just started this year, and under that is another donation that was given by a family, and it's around $2 million, and it's purely for education. So it's just an incredible foundation. I'm actually going to a lovely Italian long lunch in support of that on Saturday. They're doing a big luncheon, but it's great. So it's just people keep donating in to that, and through the donations, that pot grows, and then the interest off that grows, and the donations are given out. So, it's about $100,000 of grants every year that come off that.
Amazing, because it's such a simple idea, but it's so amazing.
It is, yeah.
It's a great model for others to take inspiration from. Get together with a couple of friends, put some money in, and then
yeah. And I think you could probably have a look at the other one that's probably very similar to that, because there's probably nothing of that size in Australia, apart from another one down in Geelong, actually, and they have something very similar that they do, and it's quite a large one as well.
Amazing. So is there anything else that you'd like to share before I ask my last cheesy cliche question, but very exciting question of the podcast?
No, look, I just I can't ask the listeners enough to get involved with something local, something community when they travel, and particularly I have a love for Seven Women, of course, so I'd say take a look at that, but people are already listening to that, so I assume they already have a love for it. But, whenever you travel anywhere, there's always a local project going on. So find it out, get in touch and find out what's happening local, and go and see, because there's some just incredible projects in your own backyard.
Amazing. Awesome. And yeah, we're very thankful for your support, Cheryl. Very thankful. And I think, I can't thank the donors and supporters enough, because that's the reason why Seven Women's grown into the organisation that it has today. I feel like it's got very solid foundations, and, we have earned our own money, which has given us very solid foundations, and then created enterprises and products, to offer tourists and travellers. But there's always been new projects that we've needed people to get around us and fundraise and seed fund until they get up and running and able to generate their own income. So really, really appreciate that. And my last question is, which I think, is a very important one, and I think you're doing a fantastic job, is kind of what's the legacy that you want to create through your travel company, or, just in your life in general?
Oh, we often talk about this, because I do believe really strongly in leaving behind a legacy, and it's just one of giving, always. And this year for me, with the travel industry hit so hard, it's probably been one of our toughest years. And so I sat back and thought, well, I'm doing it tough, but it's not as tough as so many other things that are happening out there. And in particularly philanthropy, they've had a really tough time because it's been hard because there's so many things are shut down that they don't get access to funding when all that's happening that people are normally giving. So I decided New Year's Eve that I'd make a resolution, and that was to give to philanthropy this year. So, and do something that took me out of my comfort zone a little bit, and one of them being exercise. God help me. That was a challenge. I did that bloody long walk, which was 35 kilometres. It was rightfully named, I decided. But, I decided to give back. And I think for me, if I ever want to be remembered, I'd hope that it was for looking after others rather than worrying about myself. I'd rather be giving something, because you get it back tenfold when you give.
That's awesome. I love that. And I totally agree. It totally comes back around 100%. And I've experienced that. So many miracles from that in my life as well, with 7 women and how I've been looked after. It's incredible. I'm super excited to plan future fundraisers and things with you. We've got the documentary that's going to be launched in the next few months, and love to maybe even pair up a speaking engagement with the doco screening.
Would be so much fun.
It would be, and so super excited about the future, and see you tonight for one of our monthly 7.
Oh, I look forward to that. Yes, you always got to remind me though, because otherwise I'll forget.
Yeah, well, it's awesome to have, we've got the team from Nepal on, and it's just awesome for them to have familiar faces.
Yeah, and it's just lovely to keep in touch with them, when we can't get over there. But certainly as soon as we can, Nepal's on the bucket list up there. So we'll be back over there and hopefully take some people with me, which will be lovely.
Yes, we can get that tour up and running.
Yes,
yeah. No. Unreal. Thanks a million. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Steph. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to our Inspiring Humans podcast, and I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any inspiring human in mind that you would like to nominate, please reach out and let us know. Also, you're very welcome to become part of our Facebook group called Inspiring Humans, where you can connect with incredible people from around the globe. Thirdly, if you are interested in being part of a global network, we have an incredible community at 7continentscouncil.com, where we hold events, programs, and many different initiatives that you can be involved in. Thank you, and see you again soon.